Anything that happens in Israel-Palestine affects the region and from the region beyond the region.
What do you actually expect out of India-Arab talks?
A lot, because this platform will bring Arab foreign ministers to speak on what is of interest to the Arab bloc and India.
Iran is your long friend, from Ruhollah Khomeini to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, both were friends. But now Iran has a protest. They are shouting, neither Gaza nor Lebanon, my life for Iran. Do you think it will impact on your relationship between Iran and Palestine?
No, I think Iran is sovereign and it can do whatever it wants, and it's the people who decide.
But whole Arab countries are your friend. You will be weak?
Look, whatever happens in the region in one way or another affects the neighboring countries. What we would like to see is stability in the region. We have to remain hopeful that there is an end to this occupation. I, as a Palestinian, would continue to hope and believe that there will be peace.
You think Israel is committed enough? You think they are honest about this?
No, I think Israel would like to keep the whole thing.
What is Palestine's position on Hamas?
Hamas is part and parcel of the people. If Hamas wants to join and become part of the political spectrum in Palestine, they can. They need to join the PLO.
During this world order, no one is respecting international laws. Why do you expecting from Israel that he will follow the international law?
The Israel-Palestine is a test for the whole world. If it works in Israel-Palestine, then who would say that this doesn't move to other countries? Look, for Palestinians, hope is not an option. You have to stay hopeful, because if we all give up hope, then we go into desperation, and that wouldn't help.
दुनिया भर में कई ऐसे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स हैं जिस पर सभी की नज़र है कि उन कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स को कैसे सुलझाया जाए। बहुत बड़ी बड़ी चुनौतियां हैं। इसी तरह की एक बड़ी कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जिस पर पूरे विश्व की नज़र है, वो इजराइल और फिलिस्तीन के बीच काफ़ी लंबे समय से चली आ रही है। इस बीच उसे कैसे सुलझाया जाए, उसको लेकर के गाजा ट्रूस, बोर्ड ऑफ पीस, बहुत सी ऐसी पहल की गई हैं जिसमें दुनिया को उम्मीद है कि कोई ना कोई उसका निष्कर्ष निकले, लेकिन इसके बावजूद चैलेंजेस बहुत हैं। क्या इसमें आगे फॉरवर्ड हम उम्मीद कर सकते हैं कि इजराइल और फिलिस्तीन के बीच में जो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है वो कभी सुलझेगा? कोई सकारात्मक इसके बीच में समझौता हो सकता है, नहीं हो सकता है? इस पर विस्तार से बात करने के लिए एबीपी लाइव पर हमारे साथ एक्सक्लूसिवली भारत यात्रा पर आई फिलिस्तीन की विदेश मंत्री डॉक्टर वर्सन शाहीन हैं। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मैम, मेनी थैंक्स फॉर जॉइनिंग अस ऑन एबीपी लाइव। एंड आई हैव माय कॉलीग अविनाश राय हु वुड बी टॉकिंग टू यू मैम। Thank you very much, very grateful for taking time for us, taking time out. And ma'am, I wish to begin talking to you on the subject that brings you here, first of all, that is India-Arab talks. So what, as I said, ma'am, we are in midst of a conflict that needs a resolution. So what do you actually expect out of India-Arab talks?
A lot. Because this platform will bring Arab foreign ministers to speak on what needs to be done and what is of interest to the Arab bloc and India. And to me, as a Palestinian, the Palestinian issue and the occupation of the occupied state of Palestine would definitely be at the forefront. We would not be solving the issue in this meeting, but we would at least highlight what needs to be done. How do we break the cycle? What will be done in Gaza in the near future? What is needed on the West Bank? So it's an important meeting for garnering support from all sides.
Ma'am, as me and you talk, yes, we know Gaza was completely devastated. To the best of my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, about people say about 53 to 54, 55% of the territory is still under Israelis' control, occupation. In such a scenario, also I am told that Prime Minister Modi is about to visit Israel very sooner. Ma'am, do you think the exercise of finding a solution between Israel and Palestine at a time when I say that, we all know that, huge territories are still under occupation of Israel, are you hopeful at all of the peace process, or you think America and Israel are probably not committed enough?
To start with, we have to remain hopeful that there is an end to this occupation. Not only in Gaza, but in the entirety of the occupied state of Palestine, because the vast majority of the occupied state of Palestine is occupied.
Yeah.
Area C, which is in the West Bank, which constitutes 60% of the area, is totally under Israeli control. Area B, which is 20%, and Area A, which is another 20%, are also in one way or another occupied, because in Area B, half of the, it's joint control, and in Area A, supposedly it's full control by the Palestinians, but we see the incursions of the Israelis at any time. So the entirety of the state of Palestine is today under occupation. And I, as a Palestinian, would continue to hope and believe that there will be peace in one way or another, because that peace is enshrined in international law, and it meets the rights of people to self-determination, and meets the what came out from the New York Declaration and the International Court of Justice's opinion that said this is an occupation that needs to be dismantled.
Ma'am, as I said, I would just like to draw your attention again and need a response on that. You think Israel is committed enough? You think they are honest about this?
No, I think Israel would like to keep the whole thing, because they say it. They tell the world that we are annexing, we are officializing annexation of the West Bank.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody says that, mm-hmm. you know that the intention is not to leave. Mm-hmm. But the law and logic and the rights of people compel you to advocate for Israel to leave, because if you want to forge peace, Israel has to end its occupation.
So you believe they are not being honest enough?
Well, I don't think Netanyahu or this government wants to reach that stage.
I have a specific question about Iran. Iran is your long friend. From Ruhollah Khomeini to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, both were friends. But now Iran has a protest. Iran is in protest. They are shouting, neither Gaza nor Lebanon, my life for Iran. Do you think it will impact, creative impact on your relationship between Iran and Palestine?
No, I think Iran is sovereign and it can do whatever it wants, and it's the people who decide what Iran and what direction Iran should take. I think we need to focus on what Palestinians want, and Palestinians want their liberation and their independence. And they want it through the law, the international law that gives them that right.
But Arab countries, whole Arab countries are your friend. If any one of these countries create impact from the Iran protest, you will be weak?
Look, whatever happens in the region in one way or another affects the neighboring countries. What we would like to see is stability in the region, regardless of what country. That stability will influence the stability in the others. Any disputes, any conflicts, any wars will add to the complicated situation in the area.
Dr. Shahin, I would wish to take you again back to the question that I was asking, and you responded saying that, maybe Palestine does not expect this Netanyahu government to actually move out of the occupied territories. Ma'am, how about the role of US President Mr. Donald Trump? I saw him announcing BOP's first charter in the Davos, and to everybody's surprise, Palestine was not included, which has resulted into a huge controversy. How do you see that?
Look, President Trump is a doer. He has done things that others could not do, and we believe that he has a lot of influence on Netanyahu and the state of Israel. So we would continue voicing our requests on a path that would lead to peace. Because if you want to forge peace and you are a peacemaker, there are elements that a true peace entails. And a true peace entails the respect of both people and the rights of both people. It cannot respect the rights of Israel to exist and prosper while the rights of the Palestinians are crushed.
You think President Trump understands that?
We will continue voicing that and bringing it to the table and making sure that he gets the message that it is in the best interest of everybody, including Israel.
Ma'am, I would like to draw your attention to the ongoing challenges. And the challenges are, Hamas's refusal of complete demilitarization, and obviously Israel's control of significant territory. in this scenario, I would certainly like to ask for a response on the Hamas, ma'am, because Hamas is also being charged of not fully adhering to the peace understanding.
Entities that have agreed to the plan should commit and comply with the items that came in that plan. All entities, Israel and Hamas included, they have accepted, and we would like to see that Hamas moves forward with the preservation of the Palestinian national project, because today our utmost priority is preserving the land and the people on it.
And what would the state of Palestine do to ensure that Hamas does it, ma'am?
We would continue calling for moving along with whatever that agreement stipulated.
I will come back to Donald Trump. When Donald Trump announced this truce, both were very happy. But now he is busy with MEGA, Make America Great Again. He is busy with imposing tariffs. Does he have time to spend on you?
I think he will create that time because he wants to be seen as the peacemaker of the world, and one of the most contentious issues in the world today is Israel-Palestine, and it may be one of the most difficult. Well, it won't be just him, it is his administration that will be working on it, and we hope that he will give it the attention that is needed.
Ma'am, Prime Minister Modi, as I said, is visiting Israel very soon, and when there was this attack that had happened over Israel, which they called a terrorist attack by Hamas, government of India and took a position and they called it a terrorist attack on Israel. But same India has always supported the two-nation theory. Ma'am, do you think when you look back from that day till date that maybe India could have done it differently or little more was expected from India?
What we expect from India is what we have expected all along, and India shares a very positive history of supporting the Palestinian cause. It has done in 1947 when it objected to the partition plan. It was one of the first countries that recognized the PLO as the sole representative of the Palestinian people. It was one of the countries that very early recognized the state of Palestine. And it has supported Palestine in international fora, in various UN resolutions, the Human Rights Council. And it is a country that is for international law and complies with international law and its applicability similarly in all parts of the world. And as such, we would like India to continue advocating for the two states with actual measures on the ground towards materializing the two states.
Ma'am, going back to the Hamas question, yes, you said that you would want them also to follow and do accordingly as per the peace process. Ma'am, what is Palestine's position on Hamas?
Hamas, not everybody, not all Hamas supporters are armed people. I mean, emotionally, you might be with Hamas because you look at the other side, the peace camp, and you see that the peace camp is not solving the problem. So people opt in their struggles to either armed struggle, and you've had it in India before, either armed struggle or non-violence, right? The official line is non-violence. Since 1988, we have espoused non-violence. But non-violence needs to bring you something. And if it doesn't bring something, then it becomes questionable. But Hamas is part and parcel of the people. If Hamas wants to join and become part of the political spectrum in Palestine, they can. They need to join the PLO. Now they are out of the PLO. And if they join the PLO, then they have to subscribe to the mandate of the PLO, meaning peace, ending occupation peacefully, and respecting the agreement signed by the PLO and recognizing the state of Israel.
Ma'am, do you at all expect them to do that?
Well, personally, for the sake of preserving the Palestinian national project, yes, and for them to become active participants on par with other Palestinian political factions under a mandate with one vision for a one state, one law, and one weapon, then that's what needs to be done.
And ma'am, when you say there are two options, one is non-violence, and if we don't get anything concrete in return, then it becomes difficult. To that, many would say that it's kind of a tacit support to Hamas, you know.
No, it's not support to Hamas, because we want to continue using non-violence. Because today, border disputes, conflicts cannot be solved in wars. Wars will only breed more violence and more wars. It will take time, it needs a lot of patience. Today we have 160 countries that recognize the state of Palestine. I mean, there is a lot of push on the international arena towards that end, and we need to continue in that path.
So, before Avinash asks his another question, I just wanted to seek your view on the international stabilization force that has been proposed. Ma'am, do you see this as an external control? Because under this we are talking about, you know, forces of Muslim forces. So
or others.
Yes, of course. But is it a welcome move, or Palestine sees as yet another attempt of an external control?
It has been part and parcel of the agreement that was approved.
Okay.
And a stabilization force is needed because you really need a third party to stabilize.
Right.
But we need to understand what is the mandate of the stabilization force and what is the composition of the stabilization force. And you need that stabilization before anything starts to materialize on the ground in Gaza.
So you want first to understand what is the composition of this?
Well, of course. I mean, even the states that would join that force need to understand what their force would be doing.
Right.
Ma'am, India has a big opposition leader from Congress. She is granddaughter of Indira Gandhi, former Prime Minister of India, Priyanka Gandhi. She carried a bag in Indian Parliament and it was written on Palestine will be free. It created a political ruckus at that time. How do you react? India is a friend with Palestine. India has a great relationship with Palestine. But when Priyanka Gandhi carried that bag, Palestine will be free, it created a political ruckus. Everyone was shouting, everyone was opposing him.
To me, yes, Palestine will be free. So I will always say Palestine will be free. And I would like everyone else to advocate for the freedom of Palestine, because it's not just me and it's not just an aspiration or a wish. This is what is enshrined in international law.
My colleague just mentioned Mrs. Priyanka Gandhi, granddaughter of Indira Gandhi. I would like to know your view or your expectations from our sitting Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi.
I would say that India can play a big role. India is a friend of both the Palestinians and the Israelis. And as such, friends can play a bridging role, and friends can give advice as needed. And India has been standing tall behind its principles of democracy, the rights of people, international law, compliance with international law. And as such, it can play a large role if need be.
Ma'am, if I were to ask you, what will be those prerequisites or conditions before Israel to achieve this peace between the two countries?
Respecting international law and understanding that for you to be safe and secure and live in peace and security with secured borders, you need to have peace and security with your neighbors. And your neighbors need to be living in peace and security.
What do you want them to do to begin with?
I want them to come forward with a genuine intent on forging peace and saying that enough of the wars. We genuinely want to have peace with our neighbors, and that peace has a cost.
During this world order, no one is respecting international laws. What did America in Venezuela, you saw? Why do you expecting from Israel that he will follow the international law?
Because international law is the only law today that is governing, despite the fact that it is under a lot of threat. And if it's no international law, then what? And I believe now the whole world, Israel-Palestine is a test for the whole world. If it works in Israel-Palestine, then who would say that this doesn't move to other countries?
Ma'am, just quickly, if you'll allow, just one more question I wanted to ask. What is your priority? The reconstruction of Gaza or a free Palestine first? Because unless...
I think they are very much interrelated, because reconstruction is not seen as something that is divorced from the freedom of Palestine. Reconstruction means building, steadfasting the people in their country and becoming part of a more strategic aspiration, which is ridding yourself from occupation and sovereignty and independence.
Ma'am, how hopeful are you of achieving this peace process when you yourself say that the present Israeli regime under Mr. Netanyahu doesn't seem to be serious enough?
Look, for Palestinians, hope is not an option. You have to stay hopeful, because if we all give up hope, then we go into desperation, and that wouldn't help. I need to stay hopeful. I need to find avenues and windows of opportunity. We need to garner the support of the world. We need to continue speaking about the rights of the people. We want to continue speaking about what peace entails in the Middle East and why it is important to forge that peace, because anything that happens in Israel-Palestine affects the region, and from the region, beyond the region.
If you allow me just one last question more, ma'am. If you are sounding so hopeful, why are you so pessimist about Mr. Netanyahu?
Because Mr. Netanyahu voices very clearly he will not allow a Palestinian state. He says it. He's not hiding it. That's why I don't think Netanyahu will come forward unless he is forced to. If there's no pressure on Netanyahu, Netanyahu says, I don't want a state of Palestine.
But it seems that he has no pressure.
Well, we want to create that pressure.
From US to India to
I mean,
Saudi.
from whoever can exercise that pressure and whoever has that leverage. Today, the USA has a lot of pressure over Israel.
And you hope Mr. Trump, President Trump, will
I will
do the
stay
needful?
hopeful.
Thank you very much for talking to ABP Live, ma'am. शाहीन फ़िलिस्तीन की विदेश मंत्री ABP लाइव से एक्सक्लूसिवली बात करते हुए, और उन्होंने बिल्कुल स्पष्ट कहा है कि ईमानदारी के साथ वो चाहती हैं, फ़िलिस्तीन चाहता है कि इजराइल के साथ उनके संबंध सुधरें। तमाम जो विश्व के मुल्क हैं, अमेरिका हो चाहे दूसरे देश हों, वो मिल करके इजराइल की जो प्रेजेंट रिजीम है उन पर इतना दबाव बनाए कि ये समझौता हो सके, क्योंकि पूरे विश्व भर की इस पर नज़र। और सबसे ख़ास बात ये कि प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी से और भारत सरकार से वो अहम भूमिका की उम्मीद करती हैं, और उन्हें ऐसा लगता है कि एक मित्र देश जो इजराइल का भी दोस्त है और फ़िलिस्तीन का भी, वो एक कारगर भूमिका इसमें निभा सकता है।